Я пропоную нам уже починати.
Let's start. Please take your seats. We shall start with the video on the budget simulator. Today, the preliminary demonstration. We will collect feedback about our outcome. This is Mykola. He is a blogger. Mykola knows how to rule the country. He knows how to increase pensions, reform healthcare system. Yes, Mykola is the Minister of Finance. He allocates the budget. Pension should be 500 euros, but there is no money in the budget. But I can't stop reforms. Who is rich with money? Well, interest on debts. I take money from interest and give them to pensioners, and pensioners are happy. But who are these people? They are international community. They want their interest. So where can I get money for pensions? Maybe from defense sphere. I take some from defense. Well, where from do I have these green soldiers coming? Something is wrong again. So maybe you know how to rule the country. Enter our website and test your abilities using our budget simulator. So this is a promotional video of our instrument when this simulator will be accessible for all members of the public. The idea is to give every person the opportunity to feel the burden or happiness to rule the country. For a person to understand where the decision making is an easy procedure. I'd like to tell you about the budget simulator now, to share the 4 months of our activities when we have been developing this simulator, and to demonstrate you the functionality which we built into it. The idea was generated by Natalia Korolevska. She was one of idea generators. When the advertising was about 500 euros and 1,000 euros, then we understood that after these statements, we need to create the simulator. The idea has been developed for a long time by us, from the very, not by us, but the whole world. In Slovakia, we can see this is the project on the screen. It is named Price of the State. We see here 1 billion, 10 billion. This is very simple version. We also found very complex versions where budget proposal simulator was very detailed division of financial budget articles and the results. It was in one package where the package of laws. What we have done, we have created something average between the easiest and most complex version. We try to remain the link to billion hryvnia expenditures and the micro level of individual salaries, quality of services provided to individual clients. Here you see 10 lines of expenditures so that we maintain perception of information so that even ordinary citizen can understand what is the matter in question. Talking about pensions, we are talking about the amount. What parameters are? Average pension parameter. You can see, pension age. You can reform a pension age, and you will see how it is reflected in the budget. And special pensions, there are proposals to cancel them at all. Something should be done to them. But this was not a solution. A person can cancel special pensions of prosecutors, judges, and so on, etc., etc. Here you see education page. We have 3 groups, kindergartens, preschool education, and secondary schools, and third level universities. We have also the percentage of coverage. 55% of children can go to kindergartens. If we want 100% of children be granted this opportunity, then we use the leverage in our simulator and increase the level up to 100%. Education of European level university, for example, Warsaw or Harvard. This is also the quality of education. When you click on Harvard level education, you can see that Ukraine is still a long way to go, because the level of university education depends on expenditures. Social expenditures are divided into 3 groups: subsidies, low-income citizens, welfare, and amounts provided to young families upon baby delivery. 100 billion expenditures, and the debt was taken before you started ruling the country, so you can't change the debt interest payments. Here, economics, we see roads could be repaired. You can supply more money for infrastructure, for roads. Industry, miners, you can support miners. Healthcare, we thought for a long time how to represent the healthcare system. So we used out-of-pocket payments indicator at the core. This is how much people add out of their own money, out of their own pocket, to add to budget paid services. You can see here how much you should pay to add to those money budget paid from the national budget. Law enforcement. Here we have such articles, the number of policemen, number of judges. Here you can cut funding of security service and so on and so forth. Defense sector. We had an idea to give people the opportunity to buy tanks, special vehicles, to build weaponry, but for 4 months we have not found any information about costs of vehicles or productions or cost per military man. But that's why the defense sector is not very adjustable. Civil servants, for a long time we have been thinking how to represent this sector. A quality parameter was introduced in the form of different levels of civil servants. Corrupt servants, they have salaries of 3,000 to 4,000 hryvnias. The higher salary, the less corrupt a civil servant is. This indicator is weighed against the performance of document management work. If the civil servant gets a higher salary, he has better skills of document management, and if you apply e-governance, then corruption level falls, and in this form it is presented in the simulator. Other is an article or web page in our simulator, which consists of environment and spiritual development. If you decrease something by 25% and your results demonstrate deterioration, people see that if you play a game with some article of budget, you will have consequences such as lower pensions or worse environment. I would like to demonstrate to you several examples. For example, Natalia Korolevska promised €500 pensions. So then the budget becomes twofold. Let's decrease pension age to 55. The situation deteriorates then. Then roads. I like the indicator of roads. Let's make 50% of roads high quality roads. This would cost 2 billion hryvnias. I hope you do not become depressed when I show you these figures. Let's save on environment and public utilities and defense sector. What we will have then? Approve your budget in the simulator, and then you get description increase in social inequality. You are under protectorate of New Russia. Chernobyl explodes again. So if defense costs are cut, then the threat of occupation grows. And here you can get international comparison so that you understand what is wrong with your decision making. We understand that there's the first version 1.0. Of course, cutting MP's salary should be included into a version. Many people are saying, let's cut their salaries. Ministers' salaries also should be cut. This is one of common statements among the public. We have an idea to link everything to fiscal accounts. If you increase taxes, then take your income and from them add or take out something. So we would like to make our simulator more detailed. And I think there are several scenarios. We would like to talk about them, looking from our side on it. We want to get feedback from you. I would like to ask my colleagues to tell what we should improve in this simulator.
Thank you. This will be an interesting game. I really want to play this game. I would like to ask several questions. I've put down these questions. For example, the influence of kindergartens, roads, and the healthcare. Did you calculate that the GDP will increase? The matter is, expenditures, they should be productive for the GDP. If more children go to kindergarten, then more mothers will be able to work, and a child that attend kindergarten, so then their mothers will contribute to economy. Also about the roads, infrastructure investments, especially in such country where infrastructure is neglected. So this will also increase the GDP. The same about healthcare expenditures. So you have put outcome and in outcome, in the final results, there should be the healthy lifestyle that will allow you to increase pension age and will improve workforce. So these positive changes we want to see. And also, if there is a status quo, what about this red result? If nothing is changed, I am interested what will happen then. If there is a status quo, nothing will happen. So there won't be any result, right? Yes, it will. There won't be any description. There won't be any changes. And if we change something a little bit, for example, +1, I'm interested. If we have 80 million for energy efficiency and 500 million for subsidies, if we won't change it, whether it is right not to change it, or maybe the results will be better if we change this, and otherwise we just will take more loans and accumulate debt. So about the comments about the influence. So the instrument is in the status as of today. If we speak about the influence in several years, maybe there will be a 3.0 version of this instrument. This should be the instrument with the long-term planning of the budget. And now the main idea is to show that if I subtract 50 billion, how it will change. For example, if public servants stop work and how it will influence, and everyone understand that in order to get some documents, you should address these public servants and other things. So we introduced also the description of consequences, but we didn't go into details. For example, if you have 1 trillion budget, the change in 50 million or for 1 billion, it is difficult to go in such details, in such small details. So if I would like to sum up, if there will be an opportunity, there is an input, there is output, the percentage, for example, of roads repaired, and there is an outcome in the form of the acceleration of economic activities. If it will be properly visualized, it will help people to better understand why do we need the midterm budget planning, target budget planning. So if we show these 3 types of budget planning, that would be great. And I believe that this will be a great simulator in such a case. Okay. I would like to say that this instrument of training is really great. And if we consider it as a version 1.0, this is the great visualization that can be improved. I would like to show that this is not just about the game. This is a deep analysis behind it. So maybe there should be links to some research in civil society organizations and in governmental institutions. There is some research concerning the capital outflow. For example, first year it will give minus, and the next period it can provide plus. The analysis of the policy, there are check boxes, and you can open them and show the results, and it can be linked to research. This is first. Second, we should separate revenues and expenditures, and there should be alternative policies for revenue and expenditures. For example, like in Hungary, they tried to tax the internet. Also, the energy of the blue ocean, if you use as, it will be good if there will be some statistics reflected when people found balance and there is no deficit budget. They put submit, and at the end they should see statistics of other users. That would show the aspirations of people. Do you really want to see this? This would bring an added value. I don't think that people won't want to see it, that to cancel the funding of SBU or other services. Also, there is an opinion about how to attract people. Now you have predefined alternative policies and you assess them, and there are others that are outside your attention, and I believe that we should propose alternative policies to people with proof links. For example, that if something is introduced, there will be an effect of 100 million, and if you have pre-moderation, so if the administrators see all the proposals and add only those that have added value, that would provide additional source of ideas, and the people who use this instrument, they can bring new ideas to you if you establish such a channel. So the idea is that they do it through your moderation, and you can take these ideas and put it to your simulation, and that would help you when you update this. You will search for alternative policies, and part of them will be proposed already by your users. And you should provide opportunity to people to decrease the deficit if in other proposals there is plus. So there should be dynamics in years, for example, 5-year planning, to provide opportunity not to increase the debt, but to decrease it. And to other proposals, the first one, it would be great if you provided the opportunity for the users to share this instrument, to put it as an embed code, and you had this in Tableau as one of the analytical instruments in e-data. Code is generated that can be put in on any site, or and people would share it. And the last one, maybe this finalist pie chart, there should be opportunity to show it per capita, because the bigger the sum in the budget, the less people can imagine it. So because people start to they do not understand correctly such big amounts as 1 million, 1 billion, and differentiate between them. So we should think about the links, and that we should add this information. Petro Bilyan,
this is a very unusual form in which the ideas of socialist republic could be visualized, and a balance of resources, just like in planned economy in socialist state. So what consequences could be seen when you change something in budget? This is what Ukrainians will learn then. This is more like an allied product, but not it look. For example, if such application could be used by MPs or Ministry of Finance, so that they can play with the simulation. If, for example, the head of the Committee on Industrial Policy, for example, demonstrate how industrial fleets could be created and replicated if moratorium is on the timber import exportation. When computers were not so developed, these very old computers, they demonstrated such industrial balances. They were said they do what a party is saying to you to do. And now at the new level of computer development, we can simulate the consequences. Our leaders of the country, our ministries leaders could see the consequences of their decision making. The idea is very good. Ukrainians, ordinary Ukrainians, they should first learn to plan their own finances in their families, households, multi-family houses. If they feel on this micro level how money works, and how their decision making works, but the idea is good, and if it is evolution into the application for MPs and ministers, so that they see how they can improve lives of ordinary Ukrainians. When I was a postgraduate student in the 1990s, it was a SimCity game. There you also could use the budget simulator, where you can see that if you cut the budget spending, then you will have some rallies on the streets. It was very interesting even those days in 1990s. So why this was not introduced before, I don't know, but this is a good application. As concerns Ukrainians who plan, you know that there is a peculiar feature of Ukrainians. It is better to tell how to run the country, what decisions to make, than to take right decisions on the level of your own family or your own condominium. Well, we will think about the elite version. This is concordance with the previous proposal to include the links. Macroeconomic simulation is a very interesting idea. For example, our MP Leshko or Minister of Finance usually have some interesting ideas which they propose, and it would be good if they have a simulator for elite and use this elite simulator to see how this idea will affect the country. For example, if excise duty is changed, well, I see we should make a full-fledged budget simulator of Ukraine. I have another idea. It would not be complicated to add this, but the output, such as percentage of roads, it depends on the efficient use of money, on the level of corruption. This efficiency depends on salaries of your civil servants, which are already realized. For example, increasing the salaries, you can not only accelerate document management, but also improve consequences of other expenditures. The second is accounting chamber. We can give money to accounting chamber, clearance chamber. And I have already told to you about final outcomes. If you do not want even to calculate this and to calculate GDP and increase of the whole pie, you can just write here when a person is moving that increase in the road allocations for the road, business entities start working better thanks to this. For the people to understand what is happening. I have two comments. First concerns salaries. If we change them, most probably there will be arithmetic progression. Maybe there should be some additional factor. All the tariff net will shift, most probably. Most likely not for every industry. Some factor, some coefficient should be introduced. Second, for revenues part, some multiplier, or for infrastructure, some multiplier should be launched. Because there should be some pluses thanks to the development of adjacent areas. For example, it would be better to demonstrate at once what is deficit. Maybe this would be read and well, the limits are shown. We do not see it. We do not see it. In a hashed line. On the top we see deficit. The steeple line delineates and demonstrates the limits of the budget. I would make it this deficit with such a segment, flashing segment, a segment of this pie of this circle. You can just set the when deficit is 3%, then you can't approve the budget. You are now in the zone of Halloween and fantasy and other awful things. The idea to demonstrate how the pie is growing, the rates of GDP growth, if it is quite understandable. If taxes are more than 5%, then you will be growing by 3%. If you decrease taxes, then the rate of development would be higher. Because you will have surplus, which is dividable, which you can use. And I would like to extend that you should transform it into the elite product so that those who develop proposals, they could simulate for themselves what would be the consequences of their budget and tax proposals. It seems to me that ordinary Ukrainians well, we will see how it would be perceived by Ukrainians. All proposals are acceptable. We invite all proposals. We will incorporate the comments, but the goal is rather ambitious so far. Are there any questions among the audience on the simulator. Sergei Karelin program EGAP Eastern Europe. I was skeptic about this product before the briefing. I'd like to say that I know many simulators which are used in many countries. In this format, the simulator looks better, but I feel it is lacking designer work. Work with colors on profit and deficit so that we can see increase and decrease. Now it is illegible. And I would not build some over simulator. Microsoft has already compiled such software. They are very costly, and I don't know whether they are really needed. We do not see here where from, what taxes we would need in order to cover this deficit. What else I would do? I would complicate the system a little bit with some status quo, with some statistical data. If we increase expenditures for pensions, then it would automatically result in some cuts in adjacent profession salaries. This would be interesting. Or for example, if we limit the age, for example, pension age, or increase the pension age, we should have the opportunity to see how many people we need. So there should be hints when the person made the mistake. If you want to see extremums, we should be capable to see how many people we need. For example, -10 staff members here and there, or we need the birth rate +1. So I offer you to work with sociologists so that we can provide more explanations what figures our users see. Thank you. Kasperovich Yulia, National Institute of Strategic Research, as a tax specialist. I really lack profit part, and I would like to see some sand watch. So per capita calculations should be the basis. As concerns professional articles, I also support Volodymyr, and it would be better to compile vocational articles, but by each industry, I do not think that you can find such articles. So I would like to offer the state to produce such articles. You should not be involved in this monitoring efforts. Yes, profit part would be extended on the stage of design. We understood to make high quality specific portion of our work, of our software piece, and of visualization of profit part, revenue part. It would be the appeal against populism. Any more questions? I like your simulator very much. I have an idea for the next version 2.0 when people propose to increase expenditures. I would like people to see that either you should cut expenditures or increase taxes, like in adequate countries' system, so that people can see that free of charge pie is impossible. For example, increase pensions on the account of what? Pension age A, tax burden increase B, debt to foreign states C. So these alternatives would be better seen in the area. Alternatives. Well, we will try to. Thank you very much for your feedback. It was the preliminary demonstration, just with the goal to get such feedback. And we soon will launch our simulator and see how people respond. The idea of policy decision, I like it very much. Well, I think we will be overfilled with links. Thank you very much. I think we shall end this.